It was an ordinary evening across America. Families gathered around their televisions, winding down after a long day. The primetime news was on, and millions were watching. Among the many stories of the day, one segment stood out. A political commentary show featuring a well-known anchor notorious for his controversial opinions. As the show progressed, the anchor began discussing the Trump family. His tone, initially serious, soon turned sarcastic and mocking. Then, without warning, he directed a scornful remark at Barron Trump, the teenage son of Donald and Melania Trump. The comment was tasteless, implying that Barron's reserved nature and quiet demeanor made him strange and out of touch. For a moment, there was silence in the studio. Even the co-host seemed taken aback by the anchor's harsh words. However, the show continued as if nothing significant had happened. But outside that studio, the comment didn't go unnoticed. Within minutes, social media platforms lit up with reactions. Some users expressed outrage, calling out the anchor for attacking a teenager. Others defended him, claiming it was merely satire. By the next morning, the incident had become a full-blown controversy. News outlets picked up the story, and hashtags related to Barron Trump began trending. Discussions about the boundaries of political commentary and the ethics of involving a politician's family in public discourse dominated the airwaves. Meanwhile, inside the Trump residence, Melania Trump was well aware of the situation. The news had reached her early in the morning, and despite her outward composure, those close to her could sense her concern. Barron had always been a private child, shielded from the public eye as much as possible, and Melania had worked tirelessly to ensure that he could grow up with a semblance of normalcy. Known for her protective nature when it came to her son, she remained calm but resolute. Over the years, Melania had faced countless criticisms and insults, but attacks on Barron always struck a different chord. This time she knew she had to respond, not with anger, but with grace and dignity. Later that day, after consulting with a few trusted advisors and reflecting deeply on how best to respond, Melania released a public statement. Her words were carefully chosen, reflecting both her strength as a mother and her commitment to standing against bullying. She emphasized the importance of empathy in a world increasingly dominated by online interactions, where words often carried more weight than intended. She knew that the way she responded could set an example, not just for her own son, but for countless other families facing similar situations. Children, regardless of their family background, should be off limits in public discourse, and she wrote, "Barron is a private individual, and mocking a teenager for his personality is unacceptable. As adults, we should set an example of respect and kindness for future generations." The statement immediately garnered widespread attention. Many praised Melania for her composed and thoughtful response. Even some of the anchor's usual supporters acknowledged that he had crossed a line. Within hours, the anchor issued a public apology, admitting that his comment was inappropriate. However, Melania wasn't finished. She reached out to several nonprofit organizations that worked on anti-bullying initiatives, seeking partnerships to amplify her message. With their help, she began organizing national campaigns, focusing on educating both children and adults about the impact of online harassment. These campaigns included public service announcements, workshops in schools, and social media challenges that encouraged users to share positive messages and call out bullying behavior. She decided to use the incident as an opportunity to promote a cause she deeply cared about. A few days later, she announced a special initiative under her Be Best campaign, focusing on combating online bullying and promoting respectful communication in media. "We live in a time where words can travel faster than ever," Melania said during a press conference. "It is our responsibility to ensure that these words build people up rather than tear them down. Let us teach our children to be respectful, compassionate, and thoughtful, both online and offline." Her message struck a chord with many parents and educators. Schools across the country began incorporating lessons on digital citizenship and respectful communication. Parent-teacher associations organized workshops, and educators emphasized empathy and kindness in everyday interactions, hoping to create a lasting cultural shift among young people. Social media platforms partnered with nonprofits to promote anti-bullying campaigns. What started as a negative incident had now turned into a positive movement, sparking meaningful conversations about how society treats public figures and their families. Meanwhile, Barron Trump, who had remained largely out of the spotlight, continued with his life as usual. Those close to him described him as a thoughtful, intelligent young man who preferred to stay away from media attention. Despite the public scrutiny, he remained grounded, thanks to the unwavering support of his family. Months later, during a televised interview, Melania was asked about the incident and her reaction. The interviewer, intrigued by her calm and collected approach, wanted to understand how she had managed to maintain such grace under pressure. Melania explained that her primary goal had always been to protect her family while promoting a culture of kindness and respect. She recounted how Barron had dealt with the public attention over the years, and how important it was for parents to teach resilience and dignity in the face of adversity. "As a mother, my priority has always been my son's well-being," she said. "But beyond that, I believe in turning negativity into something constructive. This was never about seeking an apology or pointing fingers. It was about reminding people of the importance of kindness." The interviewer, visibly moved by her response, asked if she had any advice for parents dealing with similar issues. Melania smiled gently before replying, "Teach your children to be kind, but also teach them to stand up for what is right. In a world where words can hurt, let us raise a generation that uses words to heal." The interview went viral, further cementing Melania's reputation as a dignified and compassionate advocate for children. Her Be Best campaign gained even more traction, with new initiatives launched to support families and schools in promoting respectful communication. As for the anchor, the incident became a turning point in his career. He took a brief hiatus from his show, during which he reflected on the power of his words and the responsibility that came with his platform. When he returned, he opened his first broadcast with an acknowledgement of his past mistake and a pledge to approach future commentary with greater care and respect. He also invited experts on child psychology and media ethics to discuss the fine line between satire and inappropriate commentary, turning what had been a career misstep into an opportunity for meaningful dialogue. He even hosted a special segment dedicated to the ethics of media coverage involving minors, inviting Melania Trump herself to participate in a constructive discussion on how the media could evolve to be more responsible. Years later, when Barron Trump was asked about the incident during a rare public appearance, he responded with maturity beyond his years. "Everyone makes mistakes," he said. "What matters is how we learn from them. My mother taught me to always respond with kindness, even when it's difficult." The audience applauded, impressed by the young man's poise and wisdom. It was clear that Melania's influence had shaped not just her son, but also a broader conversation about respect, empathy, and the power of words. Thus, what began as a hurtful remark evolved into a story of resilience, grace, and positive change. The incident, though painful at first, became a catalyst for widespread reflection on how words are used in public discourse and the importance of protecting the dignity of individuals, especially children. Melania Trump's reaction didn't just silence the media, it inspired a nation to rethink how they communicate, reminding everyone that in a world filled with noise, sometimes the most powerful response is a calm, compassionate voice. Her efforts also sparked legislative discussions on enhancing protections for minors in media, ensuring that children of public figures could lead normal lives without undue public scrutiny. A bipartisan bill was introduced in Congress, aiming to set clear boundaries on how children of prominent individuals could be portrayed in the media, drawing widespread public support.